If you're over 70, there are movements you make every single day that determine whether you'll stay independent or start needing help with basic things. I'm not talking about exercise programs or complicated routines. I'm talking about how you get out of a chair, how you walk to the mailbox, how you reach for something on a shelf. These small movements matter more than most people realize, not because they're dramatic, but because they either keep your body capable or let it slowly forget how to do things it used to do easily. Most people don't pay attention to these movements until something goes wrong. By then, patterns have already formed that are much harder to change. My name is Harold Bennett. I spent most of my life watching people age, and I've learned that the difference between someone who stays independent at 80 and someone who can't is often found in these daily movements. I'm not a doctor or a physical therapist. I'm someone who has paid attention, and what I've noticed over the years might help you understand your own body better. If you'd like more of these conversations, consider subscribing. I try to share what I've learned in ways that actually make sense for real life. Today, I want to talk to you about movements you're already making. You don't need special equipment. You don't need to join anything. You just need to understand what these movements do for you and why the way you do them matters so much. This isn't about adding more to your day. It's about protecting what you have by paying attention to what you're already doing. The first thing I want to talk about is how you stand up from a chair. I know that sounds almost too simple to matter, but stay with me here. Every time you stand up, your body is doing something important. Your legs are pushing you upward. Your core is stabilizing you. Your balance is adjusting. When you're younger, you don't think about it. You just stand up. But after 70, how you stand up starts to predict how long you'll be able to live independently. I've watched this pattern for years. There are people who, when they stand up, rock forward a little, use their leg muscles to push themselves up and rise in one smooth motion. Then there are people who grab the armrests, pull themselves forward, and haul themselves up using mostly their arms. Same age, same chair, completely different movement. The person using their legs is keeping those muscles strong. The person relying on their arms is teaching their legs they don't need to work anymore. In a year or two, the difference becomes obvious. One person can still get up from a low chair easily. The other one struggles and eventually starts avoiding low chairs altogether, which means avoiding certain furniture, certain homes, certain situations. Here's why this matters more than you might think. Your leg muscles, especially your thighs and the muscles around your hips, are what keep you independent. They will let you get up from the toilet, get out of bed, step up onto a curb. When you stop using them fully every time you stand, they start to weaken. It happens gradually, so you don't notice it week to week. But your body notices. And 6 months from now, a year from now, movements that used to be automatic become difficult. What I've learned is this. Every time you stand up from a chair, try to use your legs to do most of the work. Lean forward a bit. Yes, but then push through your feet. Feel your thigh muscles engage. You can still touch the armrest for balance, but try not to pull yourself up with your arms. Make your legs remember that standing is their job. This one small change, repeated 10 or 15 times a day, keeps muscles active that you absolutely need. The next thing I've noticed is how people walk around their own homes. Not walking for exercise, just moving from room to room. After 70, many people start taking smaller steps. They shuffle a little. They stay close to walls and furniture. It feels safer, and I understand why. But here's what happens. When you take smaller steps, you use less of your hip range of motion. When you shuffle, you don't lift your feet as much. Over time, your body adapts to this limited movement. Your hips get stiffer. Your ankles get weaker. The exact things you were trying to protect yourself from by moving carefully start happening anyway, because you stopped asking your body to move through its full range. Let me tell you about 2 women I knew, both 74. Margaret walked around her house with small, careful steps, always keeping one hand near a wall or piece of furniture. Susan walked with normal strides, picking her feet up, moving with purpose from room to room. Both women were concerned about falling. But 5 years later, Margaret had fallen twice, both times from catching her foot on something small because she wasn't lifting her feet. Susan never fell once. Her legs stayed strong because she kept using them fully. Her balance stayed sharp because she practiced it every day without realizing it, just by walking normally. I'm not saying you should be reckless. If you need to hold on to something for genuine balance issues, do that. But if you're walking carefully just out of general worry, you might be creating the very problem you're trying to avoid. Try this. When you walk around your house, take normal length steps. Pick your feet up. Walk like you're going somewhere, even if it's just to the kitchen. Your body needs to remember how to do this. The more you do it, the more capable you stay. The third movement I want to talk about is reaching for things. After 70, I've seen people start to reorganize their entire lives to avoid reaching. They move everything to waist height. They stop using top shelves. They start asking for help with things they could actually reach themselves. And I understand the thinking. Reaching overhead can feel unstable, especially if your balance isn't perfect. But when you stop reaching, your shoulders get stiff. Your ability to lift your arms decreases. Your balance, which improves when you practice it gently, gets worse instead. Think about two men, both 72. Joe stopped using his top kitchen shelves 3 years ago. He moved everything down or just stopped using those dishes. Frank still reached up for things, taking his time, sometimes holding the counter with one hand while reaching with the other. Both were being careful. But when Joe eventually needed something from a high closet shelf, he couldn't lift his arm high enough without pain, and he felt so unsteady on his step stool that he didn't even try. Frank could still reach overhead and felt steady enough to carefully use a step stool when he needed to. The difference came from 3 years of daily small reaches that kept Frank's shoulders mobile and his balance practiced. What I've learned is that you should keep reaching for things, but do it thoughtfully. Hold on to something stable with one hand if you need to. Move slowly, but keep your arms moving through their full range. Reach up to put dishes away. Reach down to get something from a low drawer. Your shoulders need this movement to stay functional. Your balance needs the gentle practice. Don't organize your whole life to avoid reaching. Instead, reach carefully. I hope this is making sense so far. These aren't dramatic movements. They're ordinary things you do anyway. But the way you do them is quietly determining what you'll be able to do a year from now, 5 years from now. The fourth thing I want to talk about is turning around. After 70, many people start turning their whole body instead of twisting at the waist. If something is behind them, they shuffle their feet to turn rather than rotating their torso. This feels stable, and it is stable. But your spine needs rotation. Your core muscles need to work. When you stop twisting your torso, those muscles weaken and your spine stiffens. Eventually, you can't turn to look behind you when you're backing up the car. You can't reach across your body easily. Simple movements become complicated. I knew 2 women, both 76, who handled this differently. Carol had started turning her whole body to look at things years ago. Nancy still turned her torso naturally, looking over her shoulder when needed. Both thought they were being safe. But Carol's back got so stiff that she had trouble driving, trouble reaching her seatbelt, trouble with dozens of small movements that required any rotation. Nancy stayed flexible enough to do all these things comfortably. The difference was years of small rotations that Nancy did naturally and Carol had stopped doing. What I suggest is this. When you need to look behind you or reach for something to your side, turn your upper body. You can keep your feet planted. You can hold on to something if you need to, but let your waist rotate. Let your spine move the way it's designed to move. These small twists, done throughout the day, keep your core strong and your back flexible. They don't require extra time or effort. They just require doing what your body naturally wants to do instead of working around it. The fifth movement I need to talk about is stepping up and down. This means steps, curbs, getting in and out of the car, stepping over things. After 70, many people start to struggle with this. They hold railings with both hands. They lead with the same foot every time. They avoid stairs when they can. And while caution is good, avoiding these movements entirely makes them harder, not easier. Here's what I've observed. People who keep stepping up and down regularly, even just 1 or 2 steps at their own home, maintain the strength and balance to do it. People who start avoiding steps find that within a year or 2, steps become genuinely difficult. Your legs need to practice lifting your body weight. Your balance needs to practice adjusting on different levels. When you stop practicing, you stop being able to do it well. I watched this with 2 men, both 78. Robert had steps at his front door, just 3 of them, and he used them every day. Walter's home was all 1 level, and he started avoiding steps whenever possible, even taking the elevator for just 1 floor. 5 years later, Robert could still manage steps confidently, taking his time, but doing it independently. Walter struggled so much with steps that visiting homes with stairs or going to certain buildings became genuinely stressful. His legs had forgotten how to do something they used to do easily, If you have steps in your home, use them. Don't make extra trips, but when you do use them, do it mindfully. Hold the railing if you need to. Go slowly, but make your legs do the work of lifting you. If you don't have steps, practice stepping up onto a low, stable step or curb when you're out. Even stepping over a small obstacle, like the edge of a rug, helps. Your body needs to remember how to lift your legs, shift your weight, and adjust your balance on different levels. These movements protect your independence more than you might realize. The sixth thing I want to discuss is how you get in and out of bed. This movement uses your core strength, your hip flexibility, and your ability to transition between lying down and standing. After 70, I've seen people start to struggle with this. They roll to the side and push themselves up with their arms. They sit on the edge of the bed for a long time before standing. They need handles or bed rails. And while these aids can be helpful, relying on them completely when you don't absolutely need them means your core gets weaker and the movement gets harder. Think about two women, both 73. Eleanor had started using a bed rail and would pull herself up every morning, barely engaging her core. Barbara still sat up, mostly using her abdominal muscles, and stood up smoothly. Both women thought they were being safe. But over 3 years, Eleanor's core got so weak that she genuinely needed that rail and struggled to get up from any lying position. Barbara maintained the strength to sit up independently, which meant she could get up from the floor if she needed to, could get out of bed anywhere, could handle situations Eleanor couldn't. What I suggest is this. When you get out of bed, try to engage your core muscles. Roll to your side, yes, but then use your abdominal muscles to help sit yourself up. You can use your arm for assistance, but try not to do all the work with your arms. Then stand up using your legs, the same way I talked about earlier with chairs. Your core strength is essential for almost everything you do. Getting in and out of bed is a chance to use it and keep it working. If this has been helpful to you so far, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. The seventh and final movement I want to talk about is bending down to pick things up. After 70, many people stop bending. They use grabber tools for everything. They ask someone else to pick things up. They leave things on the floor rather than bend down for them. I understand why. Bending down and getting back up can feel unstable. Your balance shifts. Your knees might hurt. But when you stop bending, you lose the ability to do it. Your hips get stiff. Your legs get weaker. Your balance, which needs practice to stay sharp, gets worse from lack of use. I've seen this play out many times. Two men, both 75. Walter stopped bending down about 2 years ago. He used a grabber tool for everything and avoided situations where he'd need to bend. Robert still bent down carefully when he needed to, usually holding on to something stable, taking his time. Both men thought they were being smart about their safety. But when Walter accidentally dropped his keys in a parking lot, he genuinely couldn't bend down to get them. He had to wait for help. Robert, in the same situation, could carefully bend down, hold onto his car for balance, and pick up his keys. The difference was years of small, careful bends that kept Robert's body capable. Here's what I recommend. Keep bending down, but do it safely. Hold onto a counter, a chair, something stable. Bend at your knees and hips. Take your time. Your body needs this movement. It keeps your hips mobile, your legs strong, your balance practiced. You don't need to bend down dozens of times a day, but when something drops and you can safely bend to get it, do it. Keep your body remembering how. Now, I want to bring all of this together. These 7 movements, standing up, walking, reaching, turning, stepping, getting out of bed, bending down, they're things you do anyway. You're not adding anything new to your day. You're just paying attention to how you do the things you already do. And the way you do them is either keeping your body capable or letting it slowly forget. The people I've watched who stayed independent into their 80s and beyond weren't doing anything special. They were just moving fully, moving naturally, moving the way their bodies were designed to move. They didn't avoid movements out of general fear. They did them carefully, yes, but they kept doing them. And their bodies stayed capable because they kept asking their bodies to be capable. The people I've watched who lost independence weren't less careful. In many cases, they were more careful, but they protected themselves by avoiding movements, and over time, their bodies adapted to limited movement. What felt like safety in the moment created limitation later. You have more control over this than you might think. You don't need special programs or equipment. You just need to notice how you move today and make small adjustments. Use your legs when you stand up. Take normal steps when you walk. Reach for things instead of reorganizing everything to avoid reaching. Turn your torso instead of your whole body. Use steps when you encounter them. Engage your core when you get out of bed. Bend down carefully when you need to. These small things, done consistently, keep you capable. I know some of you might be thinking this sounds too simple to matter, but that's exactly why it works. These movements are simple. You're already doing them or avoiding them. You're just choosing, probably without realizing it, whether to do them fully or to work around them. And that choice, made dozens of times every day, determines whether you stay independent or start needing help. Start paying attention today. Notice how you stand up from your chair right now. Notice how you walk to the kitchen. Notice whether you reach up for something or move it lower instead. You don't need to change everything at once. Just start noticing. Then, when you can, make the choice to move fully, to use your muscles, to keep your body practicing what it needs to remember. If you know someone who might benefit from hearing this, please share it with them. And if you'd like more of these conversations about staying independent and capable as you age, I'd appreciate if you'd subscribe. I'll keep sharing what I've learned, and I hope it helps you protect what matters most, your ability to live the life you want to live in your own home on your own terms. Take care of yourself. Pay attention to how you move. Your body is listening.